What's happening all? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just sending some messages, making sure that everybody knows we are live. And then we'll get into it. Yasu Andriko. Namogamnis filemu sagala. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So while we're waiting, just give it a few minutes just for everybody to come in. Obviously, a quick reminder for anybody that is new to the stream. 25% of everything that I make during the entire week in, week out, goes to somebody on the stream on Friday, assuming of course that we make money. Could always lose money as well. Everything that you're seeing here is purely for education. Don't try and take these trades. You know, the stream is delayed. You know, I'm not here for trade signals or anything silly like that. You know, it's about education. It's about talking, you know, through trading psychology, trading mentality, you know, what it is to be, you know, I guess a trader or an investor. Many parallels to be made, you know, with other things in life. So a lot of stuff to talk about, you know. What's happening, Adders? You alright, mate? Yeah, man, no worries. Felling trees, listening to LSP. Awesome. Excuse me. So while we wait for people to come in, let's just talk a little bit about the numbers themselves, the CPI numbers. I have absolutely no interest in the numbers themselves, right? I don't care. I don't know what they are. For me, it's irrelevant. You know, the only thing that I care about is the volatility that it brings, right? And that's always been the case for me. You know, I'm not even going to claim to understand, you know, the data that comes out on these numbers. You know, some of these news releases, I have no idea, absolutely no idea, right? For me, it's volatility, reactions, you know, absorption of liquidity, you know, stop runs, all of this good stuff that we're normally looking for. So let's go ahead and take a look at the daily, do some basic analysis so we can see we had a pretty decent run yesterday. And obviously today, we've just been kind of grinding up. And then obviously in about 9 minutes, we're going to see what's going to happen to this daily candle, right? So I've gone ahead and I've moved, you know, our lines. So we've got some areas up here where we know price has been before. It is likely, you know, that if we do get up there, we'll see some sort of price sensitivity, some sort of reaction. How you doing, Alan? And you know, if that's the case, great, fine. You know, but we're not in a rush to take any trades, and I'm certainly not going to be putting buy stops and sell stop orders and all of this crazy stuff pre-release, right? I've got no interest in gambling, you know, or trying to take a trade based on, you know, trusting the broker, you know, to trigger my order and not get slipped and things like this. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? You know, just want to let the numbers release, let the market do its thing, see what that looks like on the charts, and then we can kind of take it from there. And then obviously below, you know, in terms of ranges, we're talking around about a 374 point range to the downside before we hit any level, you know, of support. I'll put this here as well because this is an interesting level, and I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to make this a little bit thicker. I'm just going to make it a really thick line. So this area down here around about 626 is an interesting level. So I want to see what price does at that level. How you doing, Jesse? And then obviously on the upside, we've got around about close to 300 points to the upside as well, which again, we know price has been there plenty of times. It looks like a liquidity hotspot, so you can see price has kind of spent some time at these areas, you know, and it makes sense because it's the you know, the 12,050 number. You know, psychologically it makes a little bit of sense. You're gonna have me waking up early again for these lessons on the language of price. No worries, man, no worries. Yeah, I don't really sleep much anyway, so I can't help you there, man. So we've got some shorter term levels. You see the hourly here. You know, it is likely that we run up. Well, I say that, but it is also possible that we just tank, you know, to the downside. But we've got these levels, interesting levels, and then obviously on the, you know, sort of, not really sure what this level is here, so I'm just going to kind of get rid of that. And then on the 4 hour, again, similar level, 828. Very likely that we go straight through that, to be honest. Personally, I have zero expectation or zero idea, you know. From Texas, nice. Thank you. You know, I'm not going to try and guess what I think the market's going to do. This is a reactionary, you know, trading session. We let the market filter through. We let it do whatever it's going to do in terms of these CPI numbers, and then we just react accordingly, right? You know, and if there's a trade there, great. If there isn't, there isn't. That's it. You know, we're not forcing things. You know, we just have to be careful, calm, and just allow the market to kind of unfold. As always, you know, if you've got any questions, you want to go through anything, let me know. You know, and I'm hoping over time, obviously, as the streams increase, excuse me, then we can take it from there. Don't forget to like the video as well, or like the live stream, and share it, guys. You know what I mean? Share the stream. Live chat, there we go. Taking a break from shoveling snow so I can watch. Do you know, snow, yeah, there's been a lot of it everywhere. CPI number is going to be in 5 minutes. 1:30 GMT time, 5 minutes. In the meantime, let's just go and take a look at crypto quickly. A lot of stuff going on with Binance, guys. You know, if you have projects that are on the Binance Smart Chain, just be mindful that something can happen to Binance at any point. You know, obviously there's some things happening in terms of, you know, their numbers, their audits, this, that, the other. Just do a search for Binance audit, you know, and it will come up. You'll see, there's plenty of information available. Very interesting, very interesting, you know, and certainly something that we should be mindful of, right? I will actually go ahead and get you guys. Sorry about the scrunching wheel. Yeah, this is. I'll go ahead and I'll post it in the chat. Worth a read. Definitely worth a read. So again, just be mindful. Yeah. You know, oh, get rid of this. We came as low as 253. All right. And I still maintain 235 and lower. Yeah, we are going to start eating into some of this liquidity. You know, this last bounce on Binance is you know, pretty meaningless. We've pretty much negated that altogether. You know, and I imagine going into the remainder of the year, assuming or depending, you know, on what happens with Binance and some of the things that's going on over there, you know, it is likely that it's going to start to bleed lower and it's going to take everything with it. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. You know, Bitcoin on the other hand is not doing too bad. Yeah, it's just stabilizing down here, just having a little bit of a run. Expected to see maybe 18,000, 18,500. But then ultimately, if we go back to the monthly chart, just to give us a really good idea, you know, that nothing has really changed. You know, big strong month last month, very muted month this month, which is expected for December. And then obviously, you know, a little bit of a push lower. And then going into next year, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I have to figure out how I'm going to do it. I work night shift and don't get out till 7 a.m. and don't want to miss these live sessions or live lessons. Yeah, just you can always watch them afterwards. I know it's nice to see them live and stuff, Jimmy, but you know, one thing I've always maintained for me personally, I mean, I do sometimes go out of my way. Wow, check that out. Nice little spike already before the numbers. But yeah, what I was saying was, I try to have some sort of structure to my life. It's not always easy because I'm a very structureless person as it is, but I don't think Binance will go down. CZ is a lot smarter and professional than the others. Yeah. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, right? So let's just take a look at what's happened here. You can see this run, right, on the hourly chart. Big, strong push. This is a stop run, right? And it's basically taken out the liquidity above these highs. So that's done. That's finished, right? Now, what happens going forward, is what we're interested in, it is possible that it continues going up. Just because it's just done this, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's it, right? When the numbers come out, price can pretty much go in any direction, up or down. We can kind of, and for those that know CPI and for those that go into the numbers and understand what they are and try to kind of ascertain or to work out what's going to happen to price based on a particular number or particular sentiment, or expectation, forecasts, all this good stuff. Some people are very good at it. For me, I'm not. I've never really gone into that style, of analysis. And again, this is a minute before CPI. This is very interesting, actually. Spread still at 2, so that's fine. And just to let you know as well, when the number actually releases, it is possible that all of this just stops and pauses. It's happened a few times. So it's definitely something to be mindful of when you're trading. During news releases, just be really, really careful. So it's now 1:30, and by the looks of things, price has paused. So I have absolutely no idea what's happening with price right now, right? Everything's literally just stopped. So there's definitely been a reaction, 100%. Very, very slow. Very sluggish right now, very sluggish. I'm just going to wait a second and leave it. Okay, big strong push. To be honest, what I might have to do here is just relog back into just to give it a second while it reconnects. So reconnected, and we should see price blip. Yeah, I agree, Doomslayer. I think it's a scam pump. I think price is coming lower, to be honest. But I'm not doing anything until I see price start to move fluidly again, because right now, everything's just paused. You can see that it's stair-stepping upwards, yeah? And what I was going to say, if price was moving favourably, okay, in the sense of the data feed itself, yeah, I'd actually be looking to go short here, to be fair. I would. That's not saying, I'm not saying to anybody go short or anything silly like that. I'm just saying, as a capitulatory move, it's a shame that this data feed has just basically stopped, where it has, because these are the types of, capitulatory moves or parabolic moves or climactics, as we used to call them, that are very easy for me to take. This is actually starting to irritate me, to be honest. Yeah, morning, Justin. Just waiting for MT4 to reconnect. What are the timetables again? I'm not sure what you mean, Jesse. Oh, sorry, yeah. 5 minute, 15, hourly, and 4 hour and daily. But these ones that you're looking at here is basically the 15-minute top left, 1 hour top right, bottom left, 4 hour, and then bottom right daily. Come on, let's connect. I can just, you know what, when this reconnects, I can just see price, back at 17.6, 761 or something like that. So anyway, while we're waiting for this to do its thing, let me just check the stream as well, so make sure that the stream is still going. Stream looks good. So I know it's not the internet. This is very, very odd. How strange. Yeah, no worries, Jesse. No worries. How strange. We're definitely getting data. Let me take a look at the trading view numbers. Let's go down to the hourly chart. Yeah, so we basically topped out at 229, right? 12,229, right? And then that's dropped like a tank. That was, oh man, that is such an easy trade, man. That is such an easy trade. That is so frustrating. We were up here to somewhere around here, basically. Yeah, is where it's topped out. Ah, platinum's up 2.62% on the day. Nice. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't understand what's happening here. There's plenty of time. Obviously, we've got the New York Open in about an hour, about 55 minutes or so. The 7.1, is that the CPI numbers? Let me disconnect and then reconnect. I'm going to reload the software. All right, thanks, Rick. I don't think so. Can you guys hear me? Oh, sorry, was I muted? Yeah, I was muted. I do apologize. I do apologize. What I was saying was, you know, I don't know if you guys caught the delayed data, right? But there's two things I was saying. I was talking about if you're ever in a situation where this happens to you and you see this kind of delayed reaction, or you feel that the data's delayed, you know, and price is up here and you're thinking, wow, that's a really strong, you know, really strong push, check it somewhere. Yeah, it always has a secondary data feed to check just in case, because you never know, you might get yourself on the wrong side of something. Do you know what I mean? The other thing is, what I was saying is, it's so easy to jump into a trade right now, short, watch price go up and down, watch your P&L go up and down, and then just try and quick fire get out, make a little bit of profit, right? Don't do things like that. If you want to be a consistently profitable trader, you know, trading some serious size, you know, making some decent money, you have to learn to trade according to, you know, a set of rules, according to what makes sense, you know, for you, you know, and putting yourself on the right side of things. So we're just kind of watching this now. You know, we can see, oh yeah, and I made a reference to this here about this 55-point gap. That's pretty insane. That's probably going to get filled. You know, to be fair, that's an easy 100 points, to be fair. Easy 100 points. If I wasn't on a live stream, yeah, I'd be short. I would have been short a long time ago, to be fair, if the data was good. But that price is almost guaranteed to end back up at 12,000. Now, sometimes what you can do in situations like this, you know, drop your size right down to the minimum. What I used to do when I was learning to trade, I would basically drop my size right down to the minimum, and I would open a position on a really volatile stock, and I would just let it move around. You know, to condition myself to get used to watching the P&L going up and down, because, you know, when I first started trading and I used to see that P&L, I'd be like, oh man, that's really stressful. It used to really stress me out, right? Whereas I had to condition myself to get into that habit of dealing with a loss, right? Dealing with seeing red, you know, and not letting the P&L control me, you know, as a trader, and just getting to the point where you just ignore the P&L, because the P&L isn't what's important. Yeah, you, the trader, is what's important. So pretty decent run, really decent run. I'm going to drop down to a 20 lot, and I just want to see a little bit of a run up first. Got about 4 minutes left of this 5-minute candle. What's the 15-minute saying? Yeah. So we're just monitoring price at the minute, guys. We're not. So 250, so 52. I want to see what this candle does. You see, I've dropped my size to 0.20 because this is quite volatile. Just letting this filter through. And I still think we're seeing 12,000 today. But you'll notice as well, there's no real urgency, right? There's no urgency to get into the market. There's no urgency to try to attack a market that's moving as fast as this is at the moment, right? We really do have to be patient. Patience is absolutely key. This is the second day of the live streams, right? And I know we had a little bit of a problem in terms of the data, and I want to get that sorted out because we're going to have more news releases this week. You know, the last thing that we want is this to keep happening during these news releases. So I'll see if I can get that sorted out. So we're running up a little bit. I really was expecting this to fill. How close did we get to this? So 15. Okay, not bad. So we're getting a secondary push. Let's take a look at the 15, how far back up that is now. Top end is 255-ish, give or take. And actually, oh, no. Let me cancel that. Sorry, that's trading on charts. What I wanted to do was common, show open, high, low, close. So on this candle, what do we got? Oh, actually, I've just remembered I don't need this. Sorry guys, one sec. What I need to do, so we've got a high of 257. Okay, 257. So back to the 5 minute. Yeah, interesting. Still a little bit of upward momentum pressure, right? So we're gonna let this settle, yeah? Now here's the thing about anticipating entries, right? You see that first initial, this is so important, right? And I hope everybody, you know, that gets a chance to listen to this video gets to this point, because this is so important what I'm about to say. Timing is absolutely key in the market, right? It's absolutely key. It doesn't matter what methodology you're using. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter how you analyze the markets. Timing is absolutely key, right? The first run up, if you are persistent in your analysis and you know what it is that you're looking for, and you end up in a situation, right, where you take that first short, right, up here, yeah, perfect. Really good timing the market. You know, you get a 100-point move, a 20-point move, a 30-point move, whatever it is that your system warrants you to take, right? That's the first one. That's an easy trade, yeah, in terms of understanding capitulatory moves, in terms of understanding the way price is behaving on the day based on everything that we've discussed, right? That was then, 10 minutes ago. Now it's a really bad time to be trying to take a short, because you're on the cusp of two momentum shifts, right? You've got price pushing up to the upside, and you've got price trying to push to the downside, right? And one of these is going to win eventually, and you're going to end up either going higher to take out this high, or lower to take out this low and fill the rest of this gap, right? So timing is absolutely key. Trying to anticipate a short now isn't the best thing to be doing, you know, based on what we're seeing, you know, based on the fact that we've basically just cleared 143, you know, almost 145 point move on the 5 minute chart. I mean, that's a pretty significant move on the 5 minute chart. Expected, obviously, because of the news release, expected because of the numbers release, and so on. But ultimately, definitely not something that I would be considering doing now. 10 minutes before, though, if the data was good, I would have taken a short up here. It's really frustrating, actually, because that was an easy 20 points, 30 points, you know, all day long. So again, we're going to monitor price. We're going to wait. We do have the you know, the New York Open coming at 2:30 GMT time. It is going to be, it might be pretty boring, you know, at this point now. You know, there's 23 of you on the stream. You know, it's pretty slow in terms of the stream day. But, you know, if you guys want to go over anything, if you want to talk about something, or if you want to go through, you know, any suggestions, you know, we can do that while we're waiting for price to kind of do its thing. This is a bit of a random side note, right? But over here we've got something called Marks and Spencer's M&S, right? And they do these ginger immune sports shots. Absolutely amazing. If you like ginger, they're just unreal. Let me ask you guys something, man. Do you guys train? Do you guys go to the gym? Thoughts on inflation actually normalising on its own? Never. Serga, I don't think inflation will normalize on its own because inflation is manipulated. The data is manipulated. Everything that we see is manipulated. Inflation is running rampant. You've only got to look at the effect that it's the right, the so-called effect of inflation, right, on humanity globally, right? You look at that and you're like, okay, you know, if you listen to the narrative of the news, if you listen to articles, if you read, if you do your research and everything else, right, you're told one thing. But then when you go out and you actually look at people and you look at their faces and you look at how miserable people are and how much they're struggling and so on, you know, that's not a very good indication that inflation is under control. And in terms of it normalizing on its own, I still don't believe that that's going to happen, purely because I think the numbers are manipulated, and I think it's going to continue to be manipulated until, you know, the narrative is spun the way it needs to be spun, pure and simple. So the data froze, and if it had not, you would have placed an order. Yes, Jesse, I would have. Yeah. And I want to be really clear about something, yeah? When I first started trading stocks, US equities, I was part of a prop firm many years ago. Velez Capital Management, it was called at the time. And ultimately they went under, and then Oliver, he ended up kind of starting his own thing, and Charles Vaquero, the guy that was, you know, his partner at the time, you know, there was a sort of huge SEC investigation, and in fact one of my accounts at that firm is, I don't know if it's still on file at the SEC, but I actually spoke to the SEC back then because my money was taken along with everybody else's money, but Oliver made me a whole, so that's fine. The point being is, when I first started doing that through this kind of prop firm, we used to, I predominantly traded climactics, right? So I was waiting for explosive moves like what we're seeing here on the 5 minute, on the hourly, these big strong explosive moves. Now climactics generally are when you have that kind of ramp up, and each candle is progressively getting larger and larger and larger and larger and larger until eventually it capitulates right at the end, right? And when it capitulates, it generally capitulates in an area where there is a huge amount of liquidity, right? So liquidity is absorbed all the way up or down, depending on which way, you know, which way it's going. And then it ends up in a situation where liquidity dries up, there's nothing left, and price has absolutely no other choice but to go the opposite direction, yeah? The capitulatory nature of this move is not the same where climactic is. It's not like a parabolic move that's momentum driven and aggressively getting stronger and stronger and stronger as it was going. It just exploded to the upside and went straight for liquidity, right? Which is basically, if you take a look at the daily, the liquidity above these highs, and the liquidity above here, and you see this big strong down candle right here, it's basically trying to fill some of that into rebalance a little bit. So, you know, on the way up, you look at average, how you doing, TB? You look at average ATRs, you know, the average true range, you look at the average daily ranges, you know, you look at the, you know, the movement, you look at where you are on the higher time frames, and all of this kind of plays into a role of, you know, is price slowing down in that area? Is it absorbed enough liquidity to go the other way? And for me, I would have taken a short based on the feel of price and how it was moving at the time, you know, and based on all of the other variables that I've just said. Where do you see liquidity on the USA markets, S&P 500? Let's take a look. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's take a look at the weekly. So we're right inside a liquidity pool right now, to be honest. Here. So we're literally inside right now on the weekly LP, right? It is possible that we run a little bit higher on the S&P, 41.55 roughly. Where current price is right now, you're talking about another 58 points. In terms of daily, we've cleared that. I mean, there's a secondary one just there. Look, you see, it actually starts there on that candle. So, even just a quick push. I mean, almost 41.45. So if price still continues to run higher, it's gonna if it works off this area here and spends a little bit of time here, you know, it is possible that we continue running higher. To be fair, at least to 40. So 41.40 on the S&P. And I'm absolutely not, I'm not telling anybody to do anything like this, but I'm just saying. So let me close that chart because we don't need it. Let's go back to our charts. And again, what is price doing right now in this moment? You see how price is stabilizing up here, right? The question is this. We want to make some money, right? So we're sitting here and we're trying to make some money, right? And I'm trying to make you guys 25% of what I'm making, right? So I can give that away on Friday. But here's the problem, right? Do we go long right now or do we go short right now? Like, what is the most favorable trade to take right now? If you have no choice and you're like, look, you've got to go long or you've got to go short, pick one and just get it done, right? What do you do with this information? Yeah. And obviously that's a question for you guys as well, right? You know, how do we trade the NASDAQ right now? Do we go long? Do we go short? What do we do with this? Short, yeah? Okay. So let's try and make a case for going short, and we'll try and make a case for going long, right? And let's really think about what we're seeing. So you've got this big strong push on the numbers release, right? It reversed a little bit. So if we go back down to the 5 minute, so we've got this big strong push, it gaps, it goes crazy, goes all the way up, reverses, and then continues going higher. So it's starting to grind back up now, right? So what's that showing us? To close the gap. Yeah. So what's that showing us, right? The momentum is still to the upside and price is stabilizing around the 150 level. Okay, so 12,150. Off the back of a 227, well, it's about there. Well, in fact, it was a full, almost 250 point drop, right, from the high of the news release or the numbers release. Then we're getting this big move lower, and then now it's starting to grind up and grind up and grind up, and now it's stabilizing up in this area. Would you still go short knowing that the momentum is still to the upside? Depends how well it stabilizes, yep. I wouldn't trade it, but today would go long if SP broke 41.20 and absolutely hate it. Yeah, I agree with you, Don. Yeah, I'm looking for a short, to be honest, but that's not what price is telling us right now. It's actually telling us that we're probably going to end up back up here, you know, at 12.57 and just continue grinding upwards, you know. But can we make a case to go long as well, you know? We can zoom right in and we can say, okay, there is a 28 point stop. If we're going to use the low here, we're going to use the low here, you know, maybe maybe you can get that as close as a 20 pip stop or a 20 point stop, right? Take a long, you know, with the expectation that price is going to at least take out this high at 27 and then all the way up here, you know, at 257, right? The problem is the range either side is massive. So you're literally taking a trade in the middle of nowhere with a huge void above you and a huge void below you, and price can pretty much go to any of those two voids, you know, and start eating into them and still not change the dynamic or the momentum, you know, on the day or the higher time frame momentum or anything like that, right? You know, so let's just say for argument's sake NASDAQ is bullish right now. It's not going to change anything, you know. Taking a, you know, for me to want to take a long, for example, I would love to see price just explode all the way down to this gap. I mean, this is really exaggerated, right? But price to come all the way down to this gap, fill it, maybe a little bit lower, and then just snap back really, really fast. You know what I mean? And then just start to really, you know, really aggressively speed up to the upside. I'd take a long, you know, and just put an arbitrary 20 pip stop or a 25 point stop and just let it run, right? But we don't normally see these types of behaviors, you know what I mean, in price, unless there's some, you know, insanity going on in the marketplace, right? The volatility that we're seeing at the moment is purely based on the numbers release and nothing else, right? We're in the middle of December, you know, prices slowed down, volumes have slowed down, people are just chilling out now. Nobody's really actively trading. The big boys aren't really actively trading. You know, books are being balanced, you know, for the close of the year, and we're just seeing these kind of pockets of volatility based on news releases. This entire week is going to be extremely volatile, and it is possible that we don't get favorable trades. To be fair, you know, we have to be mindful of all of this. But I keep saying, and I'll mention it again. We're professionals, right? We're professionals. We're here to, you know, take solid trades that make sense. Potentially wait until a new high is made. Yeah, but the problem is with that, Mike, is if you wait for a new high to be made, how much is left of movement, right, for you to take a potential long, right? So let's say price does come all the way back up to this high, takes out the high, all right, and then you come over to the daily and you say, okay, the high's been taken, how much movement is left? I mean, this is a pretty significant candle before we've even started, right? So we have 600 points of movement just today alone, right? And then you say, okay, maybe we've got another 250 or 260, maybe 300 points, you know, of range to go. You look to the left, you start to try to figure out what price was doing prior to that. Is there any levels that price might want to be reaching for? The way price is behaving isn't helping, because it's not showing us that it's reaching for anything now. It's just showing a knee-jerk reaction in the marketplace that potentially looks bullish, but has no weight to it, yeah? Because this isn't a momentum-driven move. This is just an explosive reaction. This is a knee-jerk reaction, and there's no momentum to this. If there was, price would be continuing in one direction or the other. The volatility is basically just subsided completely now. You know, we've been sat at 250 to 260 for 10 minutes. I mean, it's, you know, we're not going anywhere, basically. Sorry, wrong chart. We're not going anywhere. We're just kind of stabilizing up here now. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. 20 minutes and we've got a 44 pip range out of a complete, you know, almost 500 point range. So again, we're just stabilizing in this area, you know, and this is the danger now. This is what a lot of people do. They end up trying to take breakouts or breakdowns, right, in situations like this. And they're like, okay, if it breaks this low, I'm going to go short. So they go short, and you're a little bit in profit, and then price comes straight back into the consolidation. And you're like, okay, if it goes above this high, I'm going to take a long. You take a long, same scenario. Get a little bit of profit, and then price comes straight back into the consolidation. These are the dangers of trading in these types of environments, and not being able to recognize these types of environments and getting yourself on the wrong side of things. I've said this yesterday, and I'll mention it again today. If you start consolidating on a really fast time frame, like the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 5 minute, you know, on something as volatile as the Nasdaq, yeah, nothing's happening basically, you know. So be mindful of these, these kind of false breakouts, breakdowns, and so on. Is the CPI number good or bad for a 75-point rate hike? The actual numbers themselves. Let me go ahead and take a look. Let's bring you guys over to the crypto. The crypto scene. That's what I was looking for. That's the word. Crypto scene. So CPI came at, 0.1%, 7.1% for year on year, and then core CPI month on month 0.2. So it was slightly lower than expectation. And if we just click on this, it tells us, change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, right? So actual greater than forecast is good for currency, release monthly, blah, 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 blah. And a bunch of other crap. So basically what it's saying here is changing price of goods and services purchased by consumers, all right? So that's the price of goods and services have slightly come down a little bit. Right. So if the prices of goods and services are slightly coming down, that means people are more inclined to want to spend. Spending creates a better economy because money starts to move around. People think it's great. Markets go up, right? That's the kind of general consensus, at least from what I can gather. And it makes perfect sense to me that would be the case. The problem is, you're talking about a 0.2% drop, right? It's nothing. And this is what people don't understand, and this is what I've always found to be quite fascinating with the way that people think, right? They think that these numbers actually mean something. And I'm not saying they don't to the people that use them to trade. But I'm talking about the actual numbers meaning something in a short time frame. Over the next month, it's irrelevant. It's so irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant, right? Because ultimately, let me ask you guys a question, right? If we go into the first quarter of next year, right, and the price, basically the global markets crash, yeah, which is what I'm expecting anyway, at least, and price starts to really rip to the downside, Bitcoin's down, S&P's down, Dow's, everything's down, right? It's just horrible market conditions, right? How are any of these numbers going to make any difference whatsoever? Yeah, they're supposed to be a measure of what's happening in the economy and blah blah blah, but the reality is that's not the measure of that's not the true measure of what's happening. What's happening in an economy. In my opinion, the true measure of what's happening in an economy is what's happening to people in that economy. What are people doing? Are they going out? Are they spending? Are people generally happy? Are people generally, miserable? I said this and I'll say it again. I've been out and about and I see people and they just look dejected. They look down. They look, depressed. They look like they're struggling. It's very hard to find, at least in the last month and a half, 2 months, somebody who's actually in a good mood. Most people are just grinding through life right now. Off the back of 3 years of COVID as well and all that crap that happened. People are exhausted, people are tired, and it's getting worse. Yeah, the interest rate number, maybe a 50. Yeah, I wouldn't want to guess either way, but it's either going to be a 50 or a 75, I think. Core came down to 6 from 6.3%. That's weird. I see it as. Are you sure? The numbers I've got are 7.3 to 7.1. Came down to 7.1 from 7.3. Oh, sorry. The previous number was 7.7%, and the actual number today, CPI, was 7.1. So it's actually down 0.6. That's year on year. Core CPI month on month was 3%, 0.3% before, now it's at 0.2%. But yeah, again, Sergey, you know way more than I do about this sort of stuff. I don't even claim to understand any of this stuff. Yeah. Core was 6.3. Okay, cool. So we're going to be hanging around till market open. All right. It's about 24 minutes. 24 minutes to market open, which will give us a little bit more volume. Kind of get a feel for what's going to happen. Yeah, bring it on, man. I want, like I said, we need the markets to just flush. Let's get it done. Let's get it sorted. Tank the market, get it sorted. Let's move on. It's definitely needed. It's getting really frustrating. Yep. You and me both, mate. Definitely would like to see the markets just completely crash. Because then it just gets rid of everything, sorts of, people lose money, everybody's in pain, whatever. It just, everything, it just sorts all of that out, and then we can start to recover, with some semblance of, normality. Whereas right now, everybody's on edge. Even today, just thinking about Binance, right? You're invested in a Binance Smart Chain project. You're like, if Binance goes down and really takes a hit, what's going to happen to my project? And you start stressing, what should I do? And then let's just tank the markets, get everybody out of the way, get everybody, dealing with whatever losses they've taken, and then we can all just start to rebuild and move forward. Because this edginess in the market is no good. In my opinion, of course. Now, these are just my thoughts. I'd rather just see the markets just tank, move on, and recover. And then we can start that next bull run to the upside and start to get a really nice sort of 3 year sort of cycle to the upside, which would be pretty cool. See you later, man. I'm sure, obviously, you guys know about Sam Bankman-Fried as well, getting arrested. That's interesting, right? He's actually been charged by the SEC, hasn't he? Don't you think it's interesting that he was arrested just as he was about to testify? Eh? These people are so full of shit. It's incredible. Honestly, it's just absolutely incredible. If you can't see, man, if you can't see that this is all just complete horseshit, then there's something seriously wrong. You're welcome, man. No problem. No problem. Yeah, exactly, man. Right before he testifies, yeah, let's get him sorted. You know what I mean? Let's arrest him and stop him from talking. You know, and then just tell everybody, you know, he's the scapegoat, basically. You know, they probably got a, you know, he was getting a little bit friendly. He was going out there. He was doing his, you know, sort of interviews. He's talking about a bunch of stuff. He's, you know, blah blah blah, against the wishes, you know, of his legal team. And he was probably getting to a point where they're just like, yeah, do you know what? He's going to slip up and say something stupid. So let's just get him arrested, you know, and let's get him extradited, and then we can deal with him, you know, back in the US. Okay. Let me see what the SEC said. The SEC mulling fraud charges, yeah, what are the charges against blah blah blah, okay, yep. SEC charges former FTX CEO SBF for defrauding investors a day after his arrest. So he's arrested and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna slap the fraud charge on you. I'm not saying he didn't commit fraud or anything like that, but you know, this is just another example, you know, of the absolute madness that happens, you know, in the world. And we just have to swallow it, you know what I mean? Say, yeah, it's fine, you know, we'll just kind of go along with it. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. We just have to grind through it, you know, and it is what it is, you know. And this is why we just need to try to make the most of the circumstances that we're in. Matrix don't like talkers. No, it absolutely does not. Absolutely does not. So let's go back over to the Nasdaq. Very boring now. Obviously, like I said, the initial push to the upside, you know, was pretty decent. Now we're just kind of waiting around. Another 16 minutes basically before the market opens. I'll kind of hang around a little bit after that as well. I might jump back on for an afternoon session, but I'm not seeing anything favourable at the moment, to be honest. You can just see this kind of very slow grind, you know, upwards, slowly going upwards. You know, we may see this high again, but the problem is because it's stabilizing in this area right now and working off this level, maybe accumulating, you know, to the buy side. You know, if it does take out this high, what's the likelihood that it's going to reverse and start to run lower? You know, at this point, I'm not convinced. I'm gonna go and grab a drink. Give me a sec. All right, I'm back. $71 points. Okay. Now, this is interesting. We may get a small grind upwards, at least past 200. 48. How you doing, Rob? You alright, mate? Now, might be worth just taking a small stab at this on the long side, just before the market opens. Maybe. Let me just keep an eye on this for a sec. Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do, guys. We're going to drop it down to 10. We're going to grab along just here. Alright. This is like really low size, yeah. I've just dropped it right down to the minimum for a second. I want to get a feel for what price is doing. We're not doing this to make money, right? I'm doing this to get a feel for how price is moving around while I'm in a trade. You know, I think we see 200 again. Everything's looking good for at least a pop to 200. Might even see 219. My screen is probably a bit small, so it's a little different to read the 4 screens. Do I need to buy a larger display? No, man. No. I mean, if I do this, you know, you'll be able to see the 5-minute chart. $3 points. If we dip to 75, I'll grab another 0.10. If we clear the high of this 5-minute candle at 91, I'll add. It's one or the other, and then we'll get a little bit of a feel for what's happening. So let's just monitor. Again, to be really clear, I'm not doing this to make money. This isn't about, you know, the pennies that we're potentially going to make or potentially going to lose. I want to get a feel for, you know, how the P&L's moving. We've got another 12 minutes before market open as well. There's 94, 95. So we're going to add another one here. Let me just bring this up a little bit so you can see what's going on. And we're just looking for, let me just move this out of the way so we can see where we're at. So we're just looking for 18 and 18. 30. And you'll notice I've got open stop. Excuse me. I haven't actually placed any stops at the moment, which is deliberate. Over here you can see price. The price is moving. I know it might be a little bit difficult on some screens, but you can see I've got the X's here, so I can always X out if I need to. But I think we get that little bit of a push just through 200. Really want to see what price does when it hits 200. Assuming it's going to hit 200, of course, doesn't always mean it will. Okay, 1 second, guys. Alright, I'm back. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's let price move around a little. How many people we got on the stream? 17. Okay. Everybody's probably out buying Christmas presents. A little bit of a pop on Binance as well. Interesting. Very interesting. Nine minutes to market open. So just stabilizing just under the 200. A little bit of a push here. Very interested to see what happens at 200 here. We'll just add a few pounds to the account if we can. Now watch the reaction at 200. You see how it's struggling just to get up there. I know it may be a little bit difficult to see on your screens. I think there's actually, and I'm just, yeah, Jesse, 9 minutes. I'm just thinking there's actually a indicator you can get and install into MT4 that actually shows price really big on the screen. I'll take a look at maybe adding that at some point. Just shy of 200. You see it's struggling struggling to get through the 200, to be fair. Let me take that one off. So the one that I added above, we can see we basically where are we? 21 pence. It's nothing, no big deal. Certainly not looking to make earth-shattering profits with a 0.10. Yeah. Let's put us back to 30. The position is open at 86. Price is currently at 92. As a quick reminder as well for anybody. See you later, Don. Take care, man. As a quick reminder for anybody that is new to these streams, this is a spread betting account. So per point is what I, the amount is what I want it to be. 10 pence per point, £1 per point, £2 per point, whatever. It's not 4 ticks per point. So just bear that in mind. There was a little bit of confusion about that yesterday. Somebody messaged me and said they didn't understand this account. It's a spread betting account over here in the UK, which I like to use because it's tax-free. It's not, well, a spread betting account is only tax-free as long as it's not your main source of income. So, if you go and make $1 million, you know, on a spread betting account, right? And then you pull it out and say, no, this is not my income, then they're going to tax you, because that's just silly, right? So we're going up again on that second push. Remember, small size, right? Time of year. It's December. We've just started this challenge. We've just started this process. You know, we're not looking to do anything silly. We're not looking to make insane profits, right, during an extremely slow month, you know, as the markets wind down for the holiday season. You know, and as I said yesterday, these streams are going to become very, very refined over time. You know, and we will get to a point. You see the jump there. I don't know if you guys saw that. I know it's very difficult to see that. But we were at 94 and it just literally dropped 10 points to 84. So you're getting a little bit of volatility pre-market now, 5 minutes before market open. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not really liking the way that this is moving around, to be fair. So I'm probably going to close it. Well, I am going to close it for now. All right. And just let price do its thing for a minute. These are feeler trades. You know, I like to completely drop the size, take a couple of trades, see what happens, get a feel for what the market's doing. You know, add to the position if I feel it's going to work, and if it doesn't, obviously we can always manage the risk that way. But I still don't, to be honest, I still don't feel comfortable going short either, to be fair. And when it's like that and you get to a point where you're like, okay, look, I don't really want to be going short and I don't really want to be going long, then it's best to just sit on your hands and just wait for, you know, the market to give you a little bit more information. You just wait till we start making some serious money, man. People are going to be all over these streams. Looking at the S&P, where would it need to go lower from here to take a long position? Let's take us over to this chart, S&P. What's your time frame? For me to go long. Well, as a scalper, as an intraday trade, what are we looking at? First, I'd want to see it break 4. Yeah, so I'd want to see price back above 4,000. Stabilize. Okay, so basically I want to see price at around 4,010, 4,020, and then see something like this, maybe on the 15-minute chart. So if you take a look at this here, so let's just say price was kind of grinding up, and it's stabilizing at 4,020, 4,010, 4,020, and then it drops like this, yeah, and then slowly starts to grind back up. I'd be looking to take an entry somewhere like this. That's what I would want to see, but I'd want to see it up here, yeah. I want to, one of the main things that I like to look for in trading, you know, and the reason why I'm so accurate when it comes to, you know, taking entries on the pound USD or the euro USD when I'm trading Forex, is I take trades after I've seen confirmation that is significant. You see the drop here, right, on the 5-minute chart, right, of the Nasdaq, yeah? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is just dropping, it's just dropping, and you're like, okay, you know, maybe I'll take a short here, right, and just expect price to go lower. It's a valid entry, you put a stop at the top here, great, fine, whatever, right? And if you do that more often than not, maybe, you know, it's a 50-50 system, but the runners are pretty good and the risk is in check, so you're making money. Great, fantastic. But that's not enough for me. I want to see something pretty significant, right? if I'm trying to get into a trade that's going to move 30 points, 40 points, you know, and I'm looking to maybe trade £10 or 15 or £20 per point, right? So, excuse me. So I would want to see a big sharp drop. Maybe price drops 50 points, 60 points, yeah, and you're like, whoa, you know, and you can see it, it's really volatile, price is really going for it, right? And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just starts to aggressively drive back up again, yeah, and then go the opposite way. That's a trap, right? It's a retail trap. It's a reversal. They're obviously trying to trap traders short, you know, and so on and so on. So you've got a lot more things going for you, a little bit more confirmation. You know, you have a narrative that makes sense. There's something that you understand. You can define the risk much easier, you know, and you end up in a situation where you're like, okay, yep, I'm liking the trade much more than I was, you know, when I was trying to enter the market 10, 15 minutes ago. Do you see what I mean? When I'm trying to anticipate that entry. So this is interesting. Market's just opened, and obviously we're getting that little bit of a run. I'm going to let the market settle for a few minutes, and it is possible that we have 940 reversal, and we start to, you know, get a little bit of a run back up to the upside if it clears these highs. Depending on how it does it, if it gets back above 200 and starts to run a bit, there might be 20, 30 points there. But again, still stabilizing in this area. Check it out, right? Let's make a reference to these areas. Okay, so we can at least see what we're looking at, and that's basically where we're at. We're in a very, very tight range at the moment, yeah, between 31 and 95, just below the 200. So let's just monitor the markets for a little while and see what happens over the next sort of 5-10 minutes. And if we don't get anything favorable, then I'll close the stream and then I'll do a market review later. You've got to think as well. I said yesterday in yesterday's stream, I'll repeat again today. I'm at war with the market, right? The Nasdaq's trying to goad me into entering a trade at the wrong time. Yeah, that's how I think. You know, it's trying to trap me. Yeah, the Nasdaq's trying to trap me. It's trying to get me on the wrong side of something. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, so I'm constantly playing cat and mouse and playing chess with, you know, with the Nasdaq. This is how I think. This is how I think, right? And I'm like, okay, if the Nasdaq was trying to take my money, how would it do it? And then I start to go through these narratives in my head. You know, maybe it wants me to think that it's going down now, yeah, and that I can potentially get a gap fill. And then you start measuring, you're like, wow, there's 142 points, yeah. But the Nasdaq knows I'm not that stupid, right? Because I've been around a little bit. Okay, fine. So I'll start to go through a little bit more of a creative narrative, yeah. You know, it's giving me just enough to tell me, yeah, do you know what? It's going to go down. Look, I'm breaking the 100 now. Don't you want to go short? Don't you want to go short? Short the market, short the market. Yeah? And you're like, okay, yeah, I'll go short. Just as it breaks 100 and then it snaps back to 15, 115, 114, 120. And you're like, oh man, now you're trapped short. With £10 per point, you're down £200 on your position. You're scratching your head and you're like, ah, yeah? That's what happens to people in the marketplace. Yeah? So, patience. Doesn't matter whether we take 30 points from 78, you know, to 48, or whether we take it from 108 to 188. It's irrelevant. We just want the 30 points. We just want the 20 points. We just want the 10 points, 40 points, whatever it is that we're looking to get, right? S&P came down on the open 20 points from pre-market. Yeah, it did. Once I'm set up a little bit better next year, and I'll have a few more screens set up and everything else, I'll be able to kind of bring other charts into the mix as well. This is going to be really cool, guys. We're going to do some pretty amazing stuff on these streams, trust me. So we've had a bit of a run back up here. You see it's just teetering on the 100, just broke the 100. We've got about 2 minutes left of this candle. Really not in a rush to throw money away, so we're just going to chill. But for those that are on the stream, did that little example that I've just given you make sense of how, you know, the market's The markets are trying to constantly trap us all the time. Big trap, man. All the people who took the shorts are getting crushed now. Yeah, absolutely. People are getting absolutely destroyed. Yeah, no, but even people who took shorts. Do you know how many people went short on this market before the CPI numbers? There would have been hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people right around the world that would have gone short, expecting price to continue going lower based on whatever they felt their analysis was telling them. 100%. There's a lot of people that are short this market right now. And there's a lot of people that are losing money. 1 more minute of this 5-minute candle. Done. So now shorts are more favorable. So I want to see price run up first. No. Let me just drop down to 20. I'm not liking this, man. Run up first. Come on. Be mindful of this as well. Right here. That price level just there, 75. Let me just zoom in a little bit, see where we're at on this high. So it's worked 100, 12,100, just spending a little bit of time here. What's the wick fill? 80 points, okay. A little bit volatile here. And we've seen this many times. How many times have we seen flipping price do this and then it just reverses and takes out the high and then off it goes? So again, just trying to get a feel for what price is doing at the moment. 36. I'm just rambling to myself, by the way, guys. I'm calling out time. I'm calling out numbers on the charts. I'm just going through the motions. I'm watching how price is reacting at 12,100. Right, what's it doing at this 100 level? Because these whole numbers, are used by banks, and institutions to to do a lot of work in terms of their orders and whatnot. So, I want to. It's price paused. Okay, yeah. So I want to see how we're reacting at this 100. It doesn't seem like it wants to get back above 100 at the minute. So it is looking like a potential short. Currently 37 on the 37 minutes. Yes, decent. 77. Oh, misquote. So we're just short now. We're going to put a stop just above. Yeah, it's a bit too high for me, that stop. I want at least a 25-point stop. Yes. .25 stop. Let's get rid of this and just monitor this position for a minute. 67. I got a misquote then as well. I actually tried to short it at 77 and it misquoted. By the way, the 5-minute on the S&P matches the Nasdaq. Sweet. Just going to let this move around a little bit. And obviously if I take a full, what we got here, 25 pips. Yeah, 25 pips, that's fine. I'm just going to mute myself while I watch price, guys. Alright, so full stop. Let's put this... why is this the wrong way around? Time. So it's this one here. So that's our entry, our first trade for the day. Let's just keep an eye on things and see what happens. So back to 100. Still wouldn't feel comfortable taking this long either, to be honest. So 06, 07s, 09s. Yeah, 50 pips. The Rangers were playing with a really wide, man. So we've been open for 10 minutes. So this is 9:40 reversal time. So now the 100's being defended. I know this is very difficult for you guys to see this on screen because the numbers are quite small. But I want to see how much this 100 level is being defended. And if it stabilizes here and then shot, you know, because one of two things is going to happen, right? We're either going to, and I'll just zoom out a bit, we're either going to get, you know, a couple of 5-minute candles just kind of grinding up, and then we get that kind of small pivot, you know, maybe gets back to 30 and then starts to pivot just a little bit and then starts to, you know, move a little bit lower and start to drive towards that 100 again, and then breaks and starts to move lower. Or we're going to start to slowly grind to the upside, which is going to make it very difficult to take along, because the acceleration to the downside, then I was expecting the acceleration to continue on this short and maybe start to drive towards, you know, filling this wick and potentially filling this gap. That's obviously not what we've seen, which may still happen. I still think, well, at least I'm still favouring shorts, right? There's plenty of range there, but if it starts to move to the upside, it makes it very difficult to take along, because you're taking along with all of this mess underneath you, right? So at any point, price could quite comfortably go down there, break, you know, 100 and really start to accelerate to the downside, take out the low here, and then just start to drive towards this gap fill. Any entry point? Stephen? No. I took a trade here, a short. Sorry, just there. And we took a full 25 point stop on that one with 0.30, so 30 pips, so basically £7 down on this account. And again, using very small size at the moment, especially during this month. I could see it grind down today as the hopium fades, since the market is wondering what the Fed will do. Yeah, I agree. Morning, Hunter. How you doing, man? Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, it's interesting because I don't think we're going to spend much time up here. And I'm not talking about today. I'm just talking about, think about what we've got coming this week in terms of news and everything else that's going to be happening, right? There's a lot of madness happening in the market this week. Huge news releases. We've got the Fed rate announcement, all this good stuff, right? So we could very well end up in 25 different spots on the NASDAQ. Do you know what I mean? Like up here, you know, at 12,250, and then back down here at 18, you know, or 11,850, you know, and then even lower, and it breaks these lows, and then it goes back up, and then ultimately by the end of the year we're pretty much where we started, you know, in the middle of nowhere, around about sort of 11,500, for example. This is the problem, you know, with where we're at right now. See you later, Adders. This is the problem with where we're at right now. You know, it's an expectation of market movement and what we think is potentially going to happen, right? So we're back up at 31. And I want to see, ideally now, this is the ideal scenario, right? This 5-minute candle gets completely rejected and we end up, we end up back down at 78. Defined risk, easy short. And then we can take it from there. But for, for now, like I said, for me, it's very difficult for me to take a long. Even the hourly looks good, rejecting looks great. Daily's maintaining its strength. 4-hour looks pretty decent. But again, like I've seen some pretty insane stuff on the Nasdaq, and I've seen things just change on a whim. We saw it yesterday. How many times did we see it yesterday? If you look at yesterday's price behavior, look at this. So price came all the way down. I took a short, right? Price came up. I took a long, if I remember. And I was basically long and short. The market yesterday, and we had the drop, we had the reversal, we had the drop again, and now we're grinding all the way back up again. This is standard behavior for the Nasdaq, yeah. So there's no issues in terms of what we could potentially be seeing, in terms of prices up here at 48, and then we could end up back down at 78, and then drive towards this gap fill, for example. That's just normal for the Nasdaq. It's not, we just need to wait for it to happen. Now the range to the upside is around about 52 points plus, right? So we'll just go for a flat 50. And the range to the downside from where we currently are is around about 163 points to this gap fill, right? So we've got movement either side. There's plenty of range either side, right, to take a potential trade. But I would still rather take a short, to be honest. Just based on experience, just based on what I generally like to see. So it is currently 2:46 in the afternoon, so we've been open for about 15 minutes. About 4 minutes left of this 5-minute candle. I mean, even if you're going to take a long look at that, it's like 53. I mean, where would you put your stop? Wouldn't really want to be jumping down to the to the 1 minute chart either, because then your risk is like, you're talking like you're exposing yourself to just basically getting stopped out continuously. Okay, so this is interesting. Doesn't look like we're going to get a strong reversal on this. It just looks like it wants to continue grinding higher at the moment. So let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Yeah, you see the 15-minute chart don't look too bad. That's actually not bad at all. So 69. Let me just bring this down to here so we know the number. And then from 69, 31, and then 88. So this 15-minute candle's literally just started. So we've got about another 13 minutes before this candle finishes. So, we're getting that kind of push on this 15-minute. Hourly looks okay. What's the range of this 15-minute candle? 39. If I was going to take if I do take a long here, I have to drop the size because the risk is just, yep, we're going to go for it. So we're going to take a long here. We're going to put a stop just below here at 40, 38. Brings a risk down to 770. That's fine. And then we're going to put it just above at 17, 31. Wow, this market is really messing with us today, isn't it? Let's zoom out of it. Misquote again. I'm just going to close the trade, guys. I'm not happy with that. So that's the second trade of the day. I'll stick that on the chart as well. That's weird. Oh, there we go. So what's that telling us? Think about what we're doing, right? What is the market showing us right now? We tried to go short here. All right, here, no follow through. Tried to go long here, no follow through. All right. So what's the market telling us? Is there any advantage to the market opening at 2 for you rather than first thing in the US? No, I mean the only advantage really is that it's just mid-afternoon for me. It just means I can get most of my stuff done in the morning. And just you're not tired, you're not having to drag yourself out of bed pre-market, all of this sort of stuff. So yeah, no, it's more favourable in that respect. So going back to what I was saying, what's the market telling us right now? I know there's not many of you on the stream, but the only other trade that I'm even considering taking now is a short, basically, right? Or a capitulatory short. So price rips to the upside, I can literally take one more trade today. And again, this is very tough at the minute. Let's see a little bit more confirmation, to be honest. So we can move this to here now. This we don't need. In fact, you know what? Let me get rid of these off the chart for now, object list, and then we can put them back when we do the review later. I do kind of feel that where the market is right now is where it will end in 6 hours. Yeah, possibly. But think about it, right? We've taken 2 trades. So let me just show you something, right? And just so you guys know as well, because I know there's many of you that are new. I've had conversations with so many traders over the years, man. We're down £13.89, right? And you think to yourself, oh man, I was at 1,000, now I'm down to like 980, whatever it is, This is irrelevant. Like, I cannot stress this enough, yeah? You guys have seen enough from me, or at least I would like to believe that you've seen enough from me, over the period of time that I've been online and talking about the markets and calling markets and all of this stuff, to know that this is irrelevant. Yeah, your P&L. The only time your P&L is relevant to you personally, right, is when you need the money, right? Excuse me. When you need the money, and you're stressing about forcing trades, you're stressing about having to make money, you're stressing about having to make money to cover your bills and all of this sort of stuff. This is the worst position you can find yourself in, because then this matters to you. Your P&L starts to drive you crazy. It starts to put you in positions where you're thinking about every tiny tick that happens on the marketplace. Instead of looking at the markets and saying, okay, today was a unfavorable day, I took trades that I would normally take, right? That statistically, the long, not so much, to be honest. The long was a little bit, it was more of a I'd say a 50-50. It's one of those, you take a shot because if it runs, it's going to go straight, straight for the high. You can basically maybe close half the position and let it run. The short though, the short I would have taken every day of the week, all day long, all day long, all day long, right? So this is just normal market behavior. These are just normal trades that I would normally take in any, in any market condition, because it's set up the way that I like it to set up, right? So what's the P&L got to do with that? Absolutely nothing. It's just a trade that didn't work. I define the risk, I define the stop, got stopped out. We move on to the next trade. I may not take another trade today. Maybe that's me done for the day. I don't know. It just depends on whether I see something that I really, really like, because we've been on the stream for quite some time now, almost an hour and a half. Not really seeing anything favorable. Very, very easy to look in hindsight and say, man, why didn't I just buy here, or why didn't I just sell here, and all of this stuff. We obviously know, we saw it live, the market data just kind of crashed and just paused, and constantly trying to reconnect. The only thing that I would have done outside of what you've seen me do today was basically take a short, somewhere within this, and taken maybe 20 points or 30 points, because it was very, very fast. But like I said, I want to emphasize that your P&L, don't focus on your P&L when you're trading. When you're investing, it's slightly different, because your P&L gives you the math behind potentially adding to your position, at various places, and adding to your investment, as the years go by and the months go by and so on. But when you're trading, your P&L can be either a detriment to your trading or a positive to your trading, right? Definitely something that you need to bear in mind. So as it stands right now, this is basically it, right? We're effectively stuck between two levels, right? So it either gets back above 12,200 convincingly, or it gets below 1257. That's it. Anything else in this range is a complete waste of time. Yeah. And this goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. What is the market telling us right now? Yeah, one word, it's ranging. The market's ranging, right? It's had its first initial movement off the numbers, and now it's basically just going sideways. This first initial, so if I do this, so that first initial drop just there. So as price is dropping, oh, that's cleared it completely, for goodness sake. So as price is dropping there is no range. Price is pulling back. Potential to break the 100, it did. It starts to stabilize, and then it starts to give an indication that it wants to continue driving lower to maybe, wick fill, and then potentially gap fill, right? But then it starts to grind back up again. So we're ranging. We're in a ranging market. Yeah, price isn't giving us any indication that it wants to go one way or another, so that's absolutely fine. We just have to chill, and we can see what that ranging market on the 5 minute looks like on the hourly. Look at the candle on the hourly. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So we've got a full range candle, but then look at the body of the candle, pretty much where it opened. Yeah, so we are in a ranging market. 4 hour looks great, daily looks great in terms of bullish momentum. But at the moment, like I said, for me, unless it breaks 1257 or breaks 12200, there's nothing left for me to do. So with that, guys, I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will try my best to do a aftermarket review later. I'll keep an eye on the markets, obviously. If something favorable happens, great. Let's put this back to our normal size. And what time is it now? 3 o'clock. If I have time, I may jump on for a live stream later, but I don't know. It depends. I've definitely got a meeting at 9 this evening, so that'll be market close, so that's fine. If I do come back on, it's going to be between 6 and 7 p.m. Slightly after, yeah, between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. GMT time. All right, guys. So I hope everyone's having an awesome day, and I will catch up with you guys in the review, or in Discord, or in all the usual places where you generally tend to find me. All right, guys, take care. I'll speak to you